try to relate this to your relationship with Christ, if you can. You're standing at the altar of marriage, giving your vows, and the groom then, he looks at the bride and he says to her, and he says, I'm not perfect. I'm just a sinner saved by grace, so I can't be trusted to be faithful to you for life. I'm likely to lust after other women and commit adultery on occasion and run around with my worldly friends and drink excessively and do all kinds of vile things. So I'm not going to stand here and make some self-righteous vow that we both know is hypocrisy, because all my attempts to please you are just filthy rags anyway. You would never imagine saying such a thing in a marriage situation, but yet that's exactly the type of relationship most of the people coming out of the churches have with Christ. It's based on this moral transfer that He became sin in your place, and He traded places with you. He took your punishment and all that other nonsense. But see, that's not what the Scriptures teach. Scriptures teach ransom, a working faith, purity, obedience, redeemed from every lawless deed. That's what the Scriptures teach. So yeah, as utter foolishness of that is, that's what the people under this side of the coin are believing. But who in their right mind would say such a thing if they wanted to have a mate for life in a marriage? Well, they certainly wouldn't. But yet, in the church, everybody sins, everybody's going to sin, nobody's perfect, judge not, everybody's a liar. If they say they don't sin all the time, if they don't have sin in them, they're a liar. See, they can't even get past the concept of 1 John 1:8 saying that, where it says in the Greek that if I say I have never sinned, I'm a liar and the truth is not in me. They can't get past that concept because it says the King James Bible, meaning sin that dwells in me. No, the Bible doesn't teach sin dwells in you. It's only in you by choice. So they think that they're going to come to the marriage supper of the Lord, clothed in their filthy rags, and no righteous acts of the saints, like Revelation 19 that we read at the beginning here. So imagine also, under this same illustration, we see the marriage is not going to work under that. No woman's going to say, well, what are you talking about? I'm not going to marry you under those circumstances. You're going to commit adultery? You're going to go out and run around all the time? It's ridiculous, right? Well, it's certainly ridiculous what the people teach and argue in favor of sin all the time. So imagine also in the actual marriage that the husband returns home from a hard day's work and his wife prepares for him this sumptuous meal of everything he loves, his favorite dishes, and presents herself to him in her finest array with her open arms of love. And he just waves his hand in her face, calling all her efforts filthy rags, and then rebukes her for even making the attempt to please him in the first place, when it's all been done in advance, right? Isn't that exactly how it applies, though? What you people are believing? I would say it does. Because you're saying that any effort that you put forth to be righteous and without blame and to walk sinless before God in perfection is filthy rags. That it's safer, it's better and more secure for you to remain in your sinful condition that you think humbles you, doesn't harden you. See, sin hardens you, it doesn't humble. Sin is the bitter root that springs up in the heart and defiles many. That's what Scripture talks about sin. But you'd rather stay in that condition, covered by this magic, unmerited favor that you think your preacher's talking about, than come to Christ and do the right thing. So you can commit adultery with the world, just like you could commit adultery on your wife, right, and retain that relationship. You say, oh, ridiculous. We say, yeah, it's ridiculous. But also it's ridiculous on the other side. You're not going to commit adultery with the world and fornicate and watch porn and all the other vile things that you people are doing when you say, well, we all sin all the time. That's what you mean. You mean the worst, vilest of sins. I know that by experience, by talking to these folks. You're certainly not going to maintain that relationship with God under those circumstances. You've never repented to begin with. That's the first thing. See, the very reason that James says in an epistle that he calls you adulterer and adulteresses, do you not know that friendship with the world is enmity with God? Whoever therefore wants to make himself a friend of the world makes himself an enemy of God. Or do you think that the Scripture speaks in vain when the Spirit dwells in you, yearns jealousy? James 4, verses 4 and 5. See, that's what it's likened to. When I'm going to sin all the time. Everybody's going to sin all the time. You're committing adultery with the world in saying it's okay with Christ. Well, I'll just confess and it's forgiven. That's a very serious matter to keep sinning against your knowledge of the truth in the Scriptures. No sacrifice remains, but a fearful expectation of fire, indignation, and judgment. See, but you think the judgment's been worked out on the cross, right? Pre-forgiveness of sins, then. Past, present, future. I don't know a preacher that doesn't preach that in one way or another. Some of them very blatantly, like MacArthur and Piper and some of those heretics. Others, they kind of cloak it a little bit, like old Francis Chan and some of the others. But then they'll say, well, you don't have to do anything. You can pull it right out of their messages. So you really think then you can live in sin and shame, and then that's going to humble you while you constantly fall into these vile and unclean habits, and that pleases the Lord? You're going to be found at the marriage supper just bright and clean, and He'll have a robe for you, instead of his wife making herself ready by right actions and righteous acts. The white linen, the clean white linen, is the righteous acts of the saints. What? The acts that they, in faithfulness and purity, in holiness unto God. That's what. So you can't have your filthy rags and a magic cloak and present yourself to God. Well, you can say to me, well, if you want to present your own righteousness to God at the judgment, well, good luck. Well, I have to respond, well, if you want to present your filthy rags to Him with this magic cloak that you think you have, I say good luck.